My name is Philip Bird, and you're watching us do this project together. Violet, why don't you tell us what's going on?
So we wanted to actually set up a baby nursery, and what we noticed first is the ceilings looked a little bit dated. They've got this nice texture. It's throughout the entire house, and I wanted to see how shiplap looks.
So you can see here, we were first of all thinking about adding some crown molding, and when we did our measurements, we realized the crown molding would totally work, but we actually needed to bump it out on both sides. As it turned out, we didn't need to bump it out. Now here you can see I'm cutting 45 just to make sure my edging is working, and so the transition works.
Yeah, it came in pretty nicely, and I like how it looks with the bump out. I think it makes it look a little more grand, a bit more like a dollhouse. So we're doing our measurements here, and as you can see, we're having a bit of fun with it. But unfortunately, when you live in a 75, 80-year-old house, the wall and the ceilings sink a little bit, so it's not perfectly even. And we were gonna measure every single board one at a time, and that's how we started. You can see it's not perfectly 8 feet, even though in some places it is.
Yeah, there was a lot of travel throughout the whole room. And so we started with the first couple of boards. You can see my daughter Noelle helping out here. Just, you know, going, measuring, dry fitting, going back, cutting. And so we did like, I don't know, 3 or 4 just like this.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is it was a sub $1,000 renovation. We also painted a wall and did a couple of things, but we did have to purchase the brad nailer. That's a new tool for us, so that took a little bit of practice as well, and I didn't want to touch it. It kind of scares me. Maybe next time, Phil.
Yeah, that's all right. It takes a little while to kind of get used to something that, I don't know, like punches a nail through a solid piece of material.
We spoke to a lot of people, and there's 2 camps. A lot of people suggested we should have done the shiplap first, but as you can see, we decided to do the trim first. If you do the shiplap first, the nice thing is then the trim can just sort of sit over top, but based on our measurements, we figured we needed to do the trim and it would still be floating on either side. We ended up cutting every single board anyway, so really it's trial and error.
All right, coming up here, you're gonna see how we had to work our way around the light. And in this case, we actually had to take a board, cut it basically in half, jigsaw it, and so forth. And now we have an interlude.
Well, you know, like I said, I painted a wall. So we've got this great print from IKEA. It's on a canvas with peonies, and so we color matched it. And I'm doing one wall in this pretty peony pink. It's quite nice. As you can see, I'm not a painter by trade, but it's kind of fun. You start with the corners around the trim, and the tape was okay, you know, it kind of kept everything tidy, but...
Actually, no, the tape wasn't okay. I bought the cheapest brand at Home Depot. Don't buy the cheapest brand at Home Depot, because it wasn't that it didn't keep a good line. It did. It actually peeled the old paint from the other wall. So get, I don't know, whatever is the best brand that you can buy for paint tape. I think it will save you some trouble.
So I'm just using a simple roller. I do recently have a paint sprayer, but I didn't want to use that in the house. That just seemed a little chaotic. So we're just rolling on pink. I only needed 2 coats, and we got the semi-gloss, which is great because it reflects onto everything in the room, and it makes it a very warm, rosy place to be. I'm quite happy with the color, actually.
And as a red-blooded male, I have to say I'm actually pleased with this pink because it's not so aggressive. And what's really nice is that when the sun comes in, it actually, you know, goes and reflects off the wall and makes it a really, really, really warm room to be in. And 1 wall is necessary. If it was all 4 walls, it would be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, it was kind of a white coffin with the 4 walls. So after the paint dried, baby's helping me with the tape. So you'll see there's a whole bunch of outfit changes here. That's because we did this over the course of a week. You know what, Phil works full-time, and there's no way I can put in a ceiling by myself, but I was able to do some things during the day with the baby during her nap time, but, you know, babies don't nap for that long. So the nice thing about this project is it's definitely interruptible. You know, you can do half an hour here, half an hour there, and nothing terrible will happen. But I got Phil back, so here we are.
We're doing the shiplap. You can see that we finally kind of got the jigsaw right. I was surprised we only needed a couple of cuts with the jigsaw. I only needed to take 1 board back, so I was really grateful for that.
I traced it with my ring light actually, because it's the same size as the ceiling light.
Yeah, it was actually a good trace job. You're gonna notice in the top right corner we have a sinking part of the ceiling, and pretty soon you're gonna see the I go a little ham, a little aggressive with the amount of nailing I do in that particular corner.
Yeah, you know, I get a sinking feeling when I look at this ceiling. Ha ha ha. It's a little bit like a sailboat.
So the material that we're using here is 8-foot MDF particle board, and it's called nickel gap. So when you take a look at the tongue, there's like a little ridge there. It's about the width of a nickel is what kind of goes in, and that's how. So it goes by shiplap or by nickel gap. There's a couple different ways of looking at that. And in terms of material, it's pretty easy to work with. It's actually kind of even potentially more forgiving than a piece of wood, because it will let you manipulate it a little bit more and so forth. Okay, just that last piece that you saw go in there, we had to scribe the last piece. And you can see me get in there, and it actually worked out. Again, I only had to cut it twice, and this is where I would say MDF's quite forgiving. Okay, what do we got here?
So this is kind of funny. I just skipped over the horrible sanding and putty and what's the goo I put in the cracks called? DAP, yeah. So I did all that off screen because it was unpleasant and there was a lot of sawdust in my hair, and I forgot to turn on the camera. So we went straight to rolling. But yes, all those scratches on the ceiling, those are places where I filled in with DAP and then sanded down. And then I, of course, wiped everything off and rolled away. So I did 2 coats on the ceiling. First coat you get at 6 times speed, and then, of course, I do faster for the second one. I also did paint the trim, so the crown moldings trimmed in white, and a little bit of a refresher on the one facing wall. Nothing too crazy, but honestly, I probably wouldn't have noticed it wasn't painted. It made a huge difference though. Here's what my baby's nursery looks like after our little renovation. So of course, got the peonies from IKEA and the matching wall paint. And we've got her beautiful crib. Again, we've got the IKEA rug here. Very simple, nothing too crazy. And the stockade sleepy crib I found on Facebook Marketplace. And I also got the matching stockade change table. Again, found it on Marketplace for a good price. We also have the IKEA chair here. Let's make it a little prettier. The pillow, that's the Vedbo. And that I also found on Marketplace, so there you go. And this is a mobile I made myself for baby. She loves looking at this one. It used to be a bit more elaborate, but our cats destroyed it. They knocked it over, so because it has fish wire on it, it was making me a bit nervous, so it gets to live on the top of the change table. And we've got a Pottery Barn mobile. I found this on Facebook Marketplace as well. So everything in here, just about, is secondhand. This is the first time we've ever attempted shiplap. Now I know that the farmhouse look is not everyone's favorite, but I actually live on a little acreage. We have little farms, so I think it's totally appropriate. Phil did an amazing job of the crown molding. See right there. And I think it looks pretty great.